You know, deep inside the world's most advanced factories, the places making our chemicals, our computer chips, our steel, there's a quiet revolution going on. A workhorse that's been running things for a century is finally being replaced by a totally new kind of intelligence. We're going to dive into this fundamental shift and explore how we're moving from just simple automation to truly autonomous control.
But first, let me ask you a question. What's the one invisible force that has been the silent, reliable brain behind industrial manufacturing for the last 100 years? I mean, it's managed the temperature in chemical reactors, the pressure in pipelines, and chances are you've probably never even heard of it.
Well, the answer is the PID controller. It stands for a proportional integral derivative. And honestly, it's a beautifully simple feedback loop. It sees an error, say the temperature is a little too high, and it reacts to fix it. It has been the absolute bedrock of industrial automation, a true unsung hero. But its greatest strength is also its biggest weakness. It only ever reacts.
And right there, that's the problem. The hyper-connected, incredibly complex world of Industry 4.0, with its hundreds, sometimes thousands, of interacting variables, it's just too much for a reactive, 100-year-old brain to handle. PID controllers, they just struggle with all that complexity, they need constant manual tuning, and they have no way of seeing what's coming next.
So, industry needs a new kind of brain. And this is where the story gets really exciting. We're witnessing a fundamental shift in logic, moving from a system that only reacts to what just happened, to one that actively plans for the future.
And this analogy just nails the difference. A PID controller, it's like your thermostat. If the room gets cold, it kicks on the heat. Simple reaction. But the new challenger, an AI powered by what's called reinforcement learning, or RL, is more like a grandmaster chess player. It doesn't just react to your last move, it's thinking 10 moves ahead, anticipating your entire strategy to guarantee a checkmate.
This table really breaks it all down. PID is reactive, always playing catch-up, while RL is proactive, planning for what's next. PID is static, it needs a human to retune it. RL is dynamic, it learns all on its own, in real time. And this is crucial. Where a PID controller is just focused on keeping one little thing stable, the RL agent is thinking about the global picture, the best possible outcome for the whole system long-term. This quote just gets right to the heart of it. The ability to adjust things before a problem even happens, that's what engineers have been dreaming about for decades. You're moving from fixing mistakes to preventing them from ever happening in the first place. That, right there, is the game changer.
So, okay, this all sounds great in theory, but where is this technology actually being put to work? Let's look at some real-world examples. And we'll start in one of the most complex environments you can imagine, the chemical industry.
Inside chemical plants, different types of these RL agents are taking on really critical tasks. You see these terms here like DDPG and actor critic. Don't worry about the jargon, they're just different strategies the AI uses to learn. But look at the results. For something as complex as carbon capture, one of these learning AIs delivered a 5.5% reduction in overall process costs. In an industry of that scale, that is a massive win, both financially and for the environment. But this is the number that really stands out. One study showed a 90% reduction in tracking errors. And what's so incredible about this is that the AI pulled this off even when things were going wrong in the background, like a catalyst losing its effectiveness. It learned, it adapted on the fly, and it kept the whole process perfectly on track.
All right, next up, let's jump to an industry where precision is literally measured in atoms, semiconductor fabrication. In this world, there is absolutely zero room for error.
And to hit that kind of atomic-scale precision, AI is being deployed everywhere. It's generating the perfect recipes for etching circuits on silicon 10 times faster than human experts can. And then you have things like Google's Alpha chip, which uses deep reinforcement learning to design chip layouts that are actually better than what human engineers can do. And it does it in a few hours, not weeks. If you really want to understand the scale of this speed-up, just look at this chart. A critical simulation that used to take nearly 2 hours of supercomputer time, 6,500 seconds, now takes an AI just half a second. That's not just a little bit faster, it's a fundamental change in the entire pace of innovation.
Okay, for our final case study, let's head into an industry defined by incredible heat and force, steel manufacturing. And it's an industry facing immense pressure to get more efficient and more sustainable.
And here, reinforcement learning is delivering on both of those fronts. We're seeing DeepRL cut total energy costs by over 24%. It's optimizing the super complex balance of gases used in the plant, cutting natural gas consumption by 17%.
It's actually making steel production both cheaper and greener at the same time.
And this is the really crucial point here. This isn't a trade-off. For 100 years, increasing production meant you had to use more energy. It was just a fact of life. But with RL, factories are achieving what they call joint gains. As this chart shows, they are able to significantly cut energy use while simultaneously increasing production. That's the power of true system-wide optimization.
Okay, but let's be real for a second. The idea of handing over control of a blast furnace or a chemical reactor to an AI, it raises a really critical question, right? How do you make it safe? How do you actually build trust in this system?
Well, the answer is a really smart, layered approach they call Safe RL. Level 1 is soft. You basically teach the AI to prefer safe actions by rewarding it for good behavior. Level 2 adds probabilistic guards to make sure the chance of an error stays incredibly low. But level 3, that's the absolute backstop. It's a hardwired safety layer that can physically override any command from the AI that even approaches a red line. It's the non-negotiable human backstop that makes all of this possible.
Now, for any of this to work, the digital grain has to talk to the physical muscle. The AI lives in the world of information technology, or IT, servers and software. The machines live in the world of operational technology, or OT, the valves, motors, and sensors. A secure protocol called OPC UA is basically acting as the universal translator here, creating a safe and reliable bridge between those two worlds.
So, what's the big picture? Where is all of this really heading? Well, the ultimate goal isn't just to replace some old controllers. It's to fundamentally change our relationship with machines, moving from simple automation to a brand new era of augmentation and collaboration.
And the economic payoff is frankly staggering. Across the board, we're seeing these massive reductions in costs, in energy use, and, get this, equipment downtime cut by up to 85%. And, at the exact same time, production efficiency is skyrocketing. The return on investment is just undeniable.
And these gains come from really tangible improvements all over the factory floor. The AI becomes a fortune teller, predicting machine failures before they happen to prevent shutdowns. It's a master craftsman optimizing every little process to slash material waste. It's like a new kind of foreman, accelerating production cycles while driving quality to near-perfect consistency.
And all of this is leading us to the next frontier, what people are calling Industry 5.0, the age of agentic AI. This is where we move way beyond just single controllers. Imagine giving a high-level goal like reconfigure this assembly line for a new product, and a whole team of AI agents collaborates to figure out the thousands of steps required to make it happen, all on their own.
Which brings us to our final thought. For 100 years, human ingenuity was focused on reacting, tuning, and fixing things. But as these machines evolve into our proactive, strategic partners on the factory floor, it really begs the question, what is the new, higher-level role for our own ingenuity?